Hey guys, it's Mistress Nightmare here, and today we'll be reading the last chapter of Free Me, a Ben Drown love story. Before we get started, please hit that like button, comment, subscribe to this channel if you guys love creepypasta and fanfictions and want more on this channel. Until then, let's get started. Ben, I croaked out, but there was an eerie silence that punched my heart for each second that passed. My eyes searched the room, desperately trying to find him. Nothing. Nothing but darkness, the sound of dripping water and the frigid air. Tears that clouded my vision and rolled down my cheeks seemed without end. I simply sat there like a lost child, far too gone from reality to move an inch. My lips moved to say his name, but my voice failed. There was once the soft, gentle hand holding him in his arms, but there was nothing. I could feel the lingering effects of his words and the way they shattered like glass. In that very moment, my thoughts were blank. I stood up very slowly, staggering pitifully before finally gaining my balance. I followed the door at the end of the room, and I wandered towards something, ignoring the body of my brother that slumped against the blood-stained concrete wall. I ignored the scattered of rocks near the uprooted tree. The car wasn't around, most likely parked far away to avoid suspicion. My eyes spotted an opening in the trees, leading to a trail, following the imprints in the opposite direction. I would find the town again. The sun began to rise, the orange light reflecting off the wet grass and leaves. Such a sight would be normally sustaining, but it made me feel warm. But the beauty of the moment gave me nothing but cold. I aimlessly pulled my hood of my sweater over my head. All I could hear was the birds at the bottom and the bottom of my shoes against the concrete sidewalk. All my friends tell me I should move on. I'm lying in the ocean hearing your song. Who you sing it. My parents were still asleep. The cars were still in the driveway. If they were even noticed my absence, they would assume that I was with Alex. But Alex wasn't there, and he wasn't coming back. Not this time. I reached into my pocket, and to my surprise, the keys were still there. Unlocking the front door and stepping inside, I noticed the top of the stairs were set light. Bloodstains were still there. They were probably asking you about that later. Trailing lightly on the carpet steps, I slipped silently into my room, nothing bothering to remove my shoes. I slowly laid on top of my pillows. That's when I broke, facing my face into the pillow to satisfy or suffocate my sobs pitifully. I curled into a ball and shook. Loving you forever. Can't be wrong, even though you're not here. Won't move on. That's how we play it. I woke to a soaked pillow. My head and eyes were sore. Sitting up, I looked towards the window and I noticed my father's car was gone. Before I could do anything else, there was a knock on my door. I could see my mother's silhouette in the doorway. She walked in slowly and sat down on my bed, brushing a hand through my hair. Try not to spill the stuff on the carpet, okay? It's hard to have it removed, whatever it is, she said quietly. I blinked. I'm sorry, I had a nosebleed. My mom simply nodded and went to the wet spot on my pillow. Her eyes softened and brushed her thumb over my cheek. Was it a boy? I felt a twinge of pain in my heart, and I slowly nodded. Yeah. My mother sighed and stood up. I'm sure everything will be fine in the end. If you want to talk about it, I'm here. Well, that she left. I held my hands close to me, sighed and closing my eyes, letting me sleep take over once again. And there's no memory of your face like a melody. It won't leave my head. Your soul is haunting me, telling me everything will be fine. But I wish I was dead. Dead like you. I could feel arms wrap around me. The same familiar arms and warmth. I looked up and saw his face. His eyes were still the same color as the sky. That we were both seemed to surprise him. He smiled down at me. I sat up quickly and held his face in my hands. Bleh. The words couldn't leave my mouth, like I was underwater. I held my throat and furrowed my eyebrows. Bleh. Ben shook his head. You can't stay here. You can't say it, not here. The sound of his voice was like heaven, but his words were depressing. Why? Because this isn't real. You're dreaming. Where are you? I asked. He smiled and held my hand in his. Free. I didn't understand his words. Then come back to me. Why aren't you in the real world with me? Ben shook his head. You'll be fine, Elizabeth. Every time I close my eyes, it's like a dark paradise. No one to compare to you. I am scared that you won't be waiting on the other side. Every time I close my eyes, in the dark, it's like a dark paradise. No one can compare to you. I am scared that you won't be waiting on the other side. My eyes opened once again. He wasn't there. Was this my fate? To forced to live this endless cycle of losing him? If that's the case, maybe I was better if I stayed asleep. Maybe forever. I went through the motions of my day like a ghost. It seemed like a blank expression permanently etched on my face. School, home, it was all pointless anyway. I didn't sleep for days. I was too scared to go to sleep. I didn't want to see Ben there in my dreams, only to lose him again when I wake up. It became harder to remember the chorus. I began to hallucinate. I could hear his voice while as I sat at the dinner table. I could hear the sounds of the ocarina as the police told my family that they found Alex's body in a warehouse. It continued to play a sad, broken tune as my mother cried when she heard or was told it was a suicide. My parents had brought me a new cell phone after they found the broken remains of my old phone. I barely paid attention to it, any of it, knowing that Ben won't be inside of it waiting for my call. But I kept it in my pocket. I gave myself some sense of hope. I finally couldn't stay awake any longer. I collapsed on the sofa once again. I could hear the soft sounds of the ocarina. It was the song of healing, but it was different, more sullen tone. I turned and saw Ben holding the blue ocarina to his lips. I sat down in front of him, watching him play for a few moments. Then the song ended. He glanced up at me and smiled. Please, just let me die, I whispered. Ben's smile quickly faded. There's no point anymore. If I die, I can meet with you. Ben shook his head and watched me for a moment. My eyes searched his desperately. Say something, I pleaded. He held my head in his hands and kissed me on the forehead. You'll be fine, Elizabeth. I woke up with tears in my eyes. I could feel Ben's lips lingering on my skin. Sitting up, I hugged my arms closer. Why was he leaving me like this? It isn't fair. I spent every single day in the same routine, going through the motions and avoiding sleep. It was pure torture. My parents assumed I was depressed about my brother's suicide. If they only knew. I felt like my sanity was dwindling. Everywhere I went, I could feel him watching me from the corner, standing behind me in the school hallway, calling my name. Whenever I slept, he would still be there, telling me everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be okay. Maybe he was right. Maybe I will be fine. I just hope that wherever he is, he was happy. He was free. Every time I close my eyes in this dark paradise, no one can compare to you. That I'm scared that you won't be there waiting on the other side. I close my eyes in this dark paradise. No one can compare to you. But there is no you except in my dreams tonight. I don't want to wake up from this night. I don't want to wake up from this night. I sat at my desk, staring blankly at the night sky as I felt my phone vibrate. Don't give up hope, I told myself. Picking up my phone, I read the message displayed on the screen. Time froze. Hello again. It couldn't be. Was I really losing my mind? I slowly typed into the chat box. I don't believe in you. There was no response for a moment, and then I saw a familiar flash of green on my screen and a new message displayed. Just look behind you.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. I'm glad. If you want more Ben Drowned love stories, check out the playlist that will be popping up soon. Also, if you want any more fanfictions narrations, please check out my other channel, Reading with Blade, which has multiple fanfictions up already. If you are interested in the yaoi experience, check out Tyler O'Connell's channel if you want to go there. But note that channel is only 18 and up. I've been listening to Tyler's stories and I'm addicted to them. Until then, bye guys!